Hello and a very good evening. Welcome to the Nightline. Thank you for joining us. I am Arazi Ahmad and here are the news. We'll begin the news with an unfortunate tragedy this afternoon. 9 family members died when the four-wheel drive vehicle they were in plunged into the river after falling off a ferry in Triso, Cebu on Friday. The unfortunate incident took the lives of 5 male and 4 female passengers, including 2 children, all aged between 4 months and 36 years old.
State Fire and Rescue Department Operations Center had received an emergency call at around 3:14 p.m. informing them of the incident. Efforts to rescue the victim were carried out by the public present at the scene of the incident at the time. All victims trapped in the vehicle were successfully brought ashore to be given first aid. However, all 9 victims were unconscious before being administered CPR. Meanwhile, Sarawak Security and Public Order Department Chief Superintendent Ismail Mahmud confirmed the incident when contacted. However, his forces are still awaiting further information on the names of the victims.
Sebuah kenderaan yang jenis Ford Ranger telah mengunsur junam masuk ke Sungai Triso, di mana dalam kereta tersebut terdiri daripada 5 lelaki dan 4 perempuan. Perempuan tu berumur 14 hingga ke 36 tahun lah. Dan lelaki itu kesemuanya lebih sebaya kanak-kanak berumur antara 4 bulan hingga 12 tahun. Jadi dalam kejadian ni daripada maklumat yang kita terima, kesemuanya telah meninggal lah. Tentu dia percayai lemas lah, termasuk dalam sungai Triso tu.
However, so far, the cause of the incident is still being under investigation, including the identities of all victims who are believed to hail from Kapit.
Yang kita dapat setakat inilah, kita maklumat setakat ini. Apa pun kita akan sahkan lagi, sebab benda ini pun berhubungan jauh di sana. Kita telah mendapatkan pengesahan yang sebenar-benarnya lagi. Tapi setakat yang kita dimaklumkan sekarang ini, itulah yang kesemua bangsa itu telah meninggal lah.
The bodies of all the victims have been sent to Beladin Hospital for further action.
The Communications and Multimedia Ministry, MCMC, will focus on efforts to speed up the provision of facilities for internet access in rural areas of Peninsula, Sabah and Sarawak this year. Its Minister, Dato' Saifuddin Abdullah, said although various initiatives under the National Digital Infrastructure Plan, Jendela, would be implemented as scheduled, efforts to provide infrastructure for internet access should be hastened.
MCMC's target is to ensure that internet access would be available to about 4% of areas in the East Coast and several other locations throughout the country. He stresses that the internet facility provided should be practical. For example, longhouses in Sarawak are not compatible with fiber optics or broadband infrastructure, but suitable for a satellite system. Nevertheless, MCMC would need to quickly propose a suitable type of satellite for installation. Previously, the Sarawak Multimedia Authority SMA has put in place interim solutions to resolve connectivity issues in Nanga Sumpa, Lubuk Antu. General Manager of SMA, Dr. Zaidi bin Razak, stated that there are many areas in Sarawak, especially in the rural areas, that have not received comprehensive and stable communication coverage due to geographical and technical factors. Therefore, SMA remains committed in bringing out digital changes in the state, especially in rural areas.
Community participation is very much needed in promoting attractive tourism destinations in Sarawak. Demak Laut Assemblyman Dr. Hazlan Abang Hipni stated that there are 1,800 registered fishermen in Kampung Muara Tebas who can join a range of initiatives aimed at attracting discerning tourists in the area.
Tebas mempunyai potensi yang besar. Ngulu dan KK pun ada dan memang ramai. Kita mempunyai 1,800 nelayan berdaftar yang sebenarnya boleh turut serta dalam program-program pelancongan. Asalkan mereka diberi latihan yang betul. Dan juga kami mempunyai tourist guide dan park guide yang bersijil.
Dr. Hazlan Hipni describes Muara Tebas as having a huge potential in the tourism industry. One of the attractions are Kampung Selabat, which resembles the Sepanggul coast.
Di kawasan kita di Demak Laut, sebenarnya kita mempunyai banyak produk pelancongan ya, yang bermula daripada Kampung Bako sehinggalah ke Taman Negara Bako, Pulau Lake, Sungai Bako. Dalam sungai ada buaya-buaya dan juga kampung nelayan, Kampung Bako, bird watching ya. Dan kita terus ke Kampung Selabat ataupun Pasir Putih, di mana di situ ada beach, ada pantai yang hampir-hampir serupa dengan Sepang Gold Coast. Dan insyaAllah kita mempunyai perancangan yang besar di situlah.
He also revealed plans to establish a resort in Tanjung Ambang.
Ya, the long forgotten place, di mana di situ sebenarnya adalah satu kawasan seperti lagun yang sangat cantik sekali, di mana kita boleh melihat matahari terbit dan tenggelam, dan di situ akan ada satu perancangan untuk membina resort lah.
Meanwhile, Malaysian Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Datuk Seri Nancy Shukri, said the natural resources that are available in Muara Tebas can contribute to regenerating the economy of the local community.
Hari ini kita cuba untuk mewar-warkan apa yang ada di sini, dan banyak bahan-bahan tradisi yang boleh dijadikan sumber untuk orang kampung untuk menjanakan pendapatan.
She said this in response to the media after visiting the Ching San Temple in Muara Tebas. Nancy stressed that Muara Tebas not only has the potential to be developed, but the communities in the area have shown what it is to be united. Based on the implementation of the National Tourism Policy, Nancy hopes that the transformation of Muara Tebas as a tourist attraction will bear fruitful results.
Adalah salah satu daripada action ataupun strategi kita di bawah dasar pelancongan negara, di mana pada masa ini kita menarik minat orang tempatan sebab orang luar tak boleh datang. Namun begitu bercakap mengenai kualiti turis yang sanggup untuk membayar untuk datang kemari, tambahan pula dengan kita punya diskaun voucher, kita membantu sedikit demi sedikit untuk menggalakkan pelancongan ataupun orang yang nak melancong dalam.
Despite having many tourist attractions, Muara Tebas still does not have any tourist accommodation facilities such as guest houses and homestays. According to the village chief of Muara Tebas, Sudin Rasid, his party had submitted a request for this purpose to the Village Security and Development Committee.
Sudin Rasin said with the homestay, aside from generating income, it can support the disease settler mutual benevolent of the village residents.
Kita pernah berbincang dalam JKK. Pertamanya, kita nak memajukan JKK lah sebenarnya untuk orang kampung. Jadi masa tu untuk pengetahuan kita orang kampung, sejak saya menjadi ketua kampung, asal ada orang meninggal, kita terus buka tabung JKK, beri duitnya sedaknya untuk bantu, walaupun nasib berapa, RM300. Tapi hari itu saya apabila berfikir tentang penduduk kampung, saya nak mula perancangan macam ya tadi. Apabila ada lebih pendapatan, kemungkinan kita boleh nambah lagi dari akhirat kematian, ataupun orang susah-susah muda nak turun sekolah kita boleh pergi. Macam inilah. Ya, maksud saya, sebab kita sudah mohon dengan Datuk Seri Wan Junaidi lah untuk 5 buah, untuk 5 pintu. Untuk 5 pintu homestay.
Plans for the homestay include being built in a coastal location for tourists to enjoy a scenic view of the sea and other recreational ocean-based activities such as fishing and more.
Tapi semuanya di tepi laut lah. Sebab saya nanggah keadaan di tepi laut ya. Orang di kucing-kucing selalu datang memancing. Mungkin setidaknya nak cari tempat kadang-kadang nanggah si ada. Oleh kerana tempat di tepi ya. Secara tidak langsung anak sudah ada. Kita boleh mula kantin ke apa ke. Jadi untuk duit dia kelak akan ditabung dalam tabung JKK untuk bantu orang kampung.
Welcome back. The loan repayment period of the National Higher Education Fund Corporation, or PTPTN, will be extended for another 3 months to eligible borrowers. Higher Education Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Noraini Ahmad said this decision was taken as the government was concerned and realized that there were PTPTN borrowers who were still affected by COVID-19 pandemic and had not been able to repay the loan.
Noraini said details on the implementation of the extension of the loan repayment delay would be detailed by PTPTN. She hoped the announcement can help ease the burden borne by PTPTN borrowers. Further inquiries in regards to the matter can be made by contacting PTPTN Care Line at 03 2193 3000, which operates Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
The Kuala Lumpur-Singapore High-Speed Rail HSR project has been terminated after both countries failed to reach an agreement on changes proposed by Malaysia by the deadline of December 31st. Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin and his Singaporean counterpart Lee Hsien Loong announced this in a joint statement on January 1st.
According to the statement, both governments had conducted several discussions with regard to these changes and had not been able to reach an agreement. Therefore, the HSR agreement had lapsed on December 31st, 2020. Malaysia and Singapore will abide by their respective obligations and proceed with necessary action resulting from the termination of the HSR agreement. Nevertheless, both neighbouring countries remain committed in maintaining good bilateral relations, cooperating closely in various sectors, and strengthening connection between the two countries. Previously, on May 31st, both countries have reached an agreement to postpone the HSR project, costing 110 billion ringgit until December 31st, 2020. It was reported that the construction of the 350 kilometers HSR project had been suspended since September 2018. On December 13, 2016, the long-awaited high-speed rail connecting Singapore and Kuala Lumpur is targeted to be up and running by around 2026, cutting the travelling time between both cities to 90 minutes.
The availability of the COVID-19 vaccine will bring the pandemic situation under control. Such was the assurance given by Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Dato' Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah, in which he said Sarakians should persevere with the new norm as the vaccines will be largely available in 2021.
Kita yakin wabak COVID-19 akan dapat dikawal, insya-Allah, dengan wujudnya vaksin yang akan dibekalkan kepada rakyat Malaysia dan juga rakyat Sarawak.
Malaysia today reported 2,068 new COVID-19 cases, bringing the total number of infections in the country to 115,078 so far. According to Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham, out of the 2,068 newly confirmed COVID-19 cases today, 2 were imported while 2,066 were local transmissions. Sarawak recorded 8 new COVID-19 positive cases, bringing the total number of infections in the state to 1,125. Of the 8 new cases, 3 were reported each from Kuching and Maradong and 1 each in Bintulu and Miri. Maradong district is now a yellow zone after 3 locally transmitted COVID-19 cases were reported in the district on January 1st. Kuching, Bintulu, Sibu and Lawas districts remain yellow zones with between 1 and 4 local transmissions in the last 14 days. The remaining 35 districts in the state are green zones with no locally transmitted cases. The RMCO, or the Recovery Movement Control Order, throughout the country has been extended until March 31st. This was announced by the Senior Minister for Security Cluster, Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, based on a risk assessment by the Ministry of Health. According to him, all standard operating procedures under the RMCO will apply during the period and are subject to changes to be announced from time to time. Activities at pubs and nightclubs are still prohibited, while activities involving large crowds, which make it difficult to implement physical distancing, are also not allowed. Moreover, tourism activities would be based on the announcement by the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture with strict compliance in accordance with the SOP. The state is facing a shortage of foreign labor due to a ban on hiring of foreign workers, greatly affecting the construction industry in particular. At the same time, more illegal immigrants are attempting to enter Sarawak, increasing the risk of COVID-19 infections. To tackle both these issues, the Sarawak government has decided to allow employers to hire foreign workers under certain conditions, starting from January 1st this year.
The announcement by the State Disaster Management Committee (SDMC) is therefore hoped to reduce the possibility of companies resorting to hiring illegal workers. However, employers who wish to recruit foreign workers must follow standard operating procedures (SOPs) and ensure their workers have valid work permits. Meanwhile, Sarawak Housing and Real Estate Developers Association Sheda Kuching Branch Chairman Datuk Sim Kiang Chiok said he hopes employers can do their part to prevent any outbreaks by providing good accommodation and a safe working environment. On the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the construction sector, he said the industry has suffered huge losses.
So according to CIDB report, we have lost about 42% of the construction work since January to October this year as compared to the same period last year, or the amount fell to 55.3 billion from 94.6 billion worth of works.
The pandemic has also made the construction industry aware that Sarawak needs to speed up the adoption of Industry 4.0.
We have a few factories in Kuching that is doing IBS, and they are supporting projects that has high volumes. As far as professional that we have, the architect, the engineer, the QS, the M&E, in Sarawak, yes, we have enough support from this professional.
Coming into 2021, postponed construction projects will be resuming one after another. Therefore, Datuk Sim is optimistic that the construction industry has survived the hardest and darkest period and that things will be better in the future.
Right. The New Year Countdown 2021 held at the State Indoor Stadium on Thursday night was a joyous event. The event was held in compliance with the standard operating procedures set by the State Security Council and Sarawak State Disaster Management Committee.
Ikut SOP, kami orang diberi first chair, first chair, kami orang pakai mask, and kami orang pun perlu jarakkan diri dekat atas stage, and perlu selalu cuci tangan, pakai sanitizer semua. So far malam tu semuanya berjalan dengan lancar. Kami orang as performer pun kami orang have fun.
The SOP very strictly. During our rehearsals, everybody sits a meter apart. We do not have any contact with the person next to us, and every time we have rehearsal, it is always being apart. The members are always apart, so there is no near contact.
The stadium has a maximum capacity of 5,000 pax. However, last night's event was celebrated by welcoming not more than 1,000 audiences in view of the pandemic. The event began at 8 p.m., where the audiences were treated to various musical performances, including orchestra and dancers, as well as performance by Sarawak's talented artist Dayang Nurfaizah.
Frontliners were celebrated during the Sarawak New Year Countdown 2021 event at Stadium Perpaduan on Thursday, and recognizing and appreciating their sacrifices in the battle to curb the COVID-19 pandemic. Frontliners expressed their gratitude towards the Sarawak government's efforts for holding such an event.
Saya secara pribadi mengucapkan setinggi-tinggi penghargaan dan terima kasih kepada Kerajaan Negeri Sarawak dan juga semua yang menghargai penat lelah kami di Barisan Harapan dalam menangani segala macam situasi yang berlaku sepanjang tahun 2020.
Kami orang wakil daripada pihak kesihatan ingin mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih atas penghargaan yang diberikan oleh pihak Kerajaan Negeri Sarawak. Semoga kita terus bertabah dan terus berjuang, bersemangat untuk menentang COVID-19 itu. Dan hashtag kita jaga kita, sayang negeri Sarawak.
Kami anggota rela daripada Kuching Selatan ingin mengucapkan Selamat Tahun Baru 2021.
Hai, kami Dainu Faiza mengucapkan selamat tahun baru kepada semua penonton TVS. Semoga tahun 2021 akan menjadi lebih bermakna. Selamat tahun baru.
Kami daripada Ibu Pejabat Polis Daerah Kuching mengucapkan selamat tahun baru 2021.
Wish everybody a very happy New Year 2021. Hopefully all this COVID will go and we can get back to normal.
Kami dari Klinik Kesihatan Petrajaya mengucapkan selamat tahun baru 2021.
Civil servants are urged to make 2021 the year to launch themselves towards civil service excellence. Chief Secretary to the government, Tan Sri Muhammad Ali, said the leap of excellence must be mobilized through the consolidation of human capital with future competencies, strengthening of more flexible organizations, management and development of projects that are fast and high impact.
Apart from that, he said the service delivery should also be based on digital technology and the 4.0 industrial revolution, in line with the hopes and challenges expressed by Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin prior to this. At the same time, he also expressed his appreciation to all civil servants, including the frontliners and those behind the scenes, such as those who manage logistics and human resource who work hard to combat the COVID-19 pandemic.
2020 seemed to last an eternity, with the COVID-19 pandemic being the highlight of the year. Despite the gloom and anguish brought on by the pandemic, Sarawak nevertheless has achieved a few successes worth bragging about. A new page appears in the state's Book of Resources when on September 17, Petroleum Nasional Berhad, Petronas, for the first time paid state sales tax on petroleum products amounting to 2.59 billion ringgit to the Sarawak government. The sweet success was achieved after a series of negotiations between both parties, including bringing disputes to the courts. Payment for the year 2020 will also be made after the evaluation of actual total sales of petroleum products is done. What's for sure is that this new income will be channeled into development projects for the benefit of the people of Sarawak. The Sarawak government continues to design programs for the people's well-being, including introducing its very own liquefied petroleum gas by Petroleum Sarawak Berhad or Petros. Petros offers a cheaper price of 26 ringgit 60 cents per 14 kilogram cylinder. Towards environmental sustainability, Sarawak has introduced 3-in-1 integrated refueling stations, which supply not only petrol and diesel, but also charging ports for electric vehicles and hydrogen for hydrogen cell-powered vehicles. This is in line with Sarawak's desire to expand the use of hydrogen-based fuel. Sarawak's dream of having its very own TV station has come true with the launching of TVS on October 11, 2020, featuring the tagline, Inspiring Your World. Chief Minister Datuk Pantai Abang Johari Tun Openg said TVS will be the platform for Sarawak's content creators, producers and performers to showcase their work while becoming an effective medium for communication through their news bulletins, current affair programs and talk shows of all kinds. Stay tuned to TVS on Astro Channel 122. Meanwhile, the Sarawak government has come up with various assistances under the Bantuan Khas Sarawak Kusayang BKSS Special Aid to help ease the burden of Sarawakians during the COVID-19 pandemic. A total of 2.56 billion ringgit has been allocated under BKSS for this purpose. 2020 saw the amazing story of two Sarawakian students winning the best film by popular jury in the primary school category at the Alvorada International School Film Festival in Brazil. Magres Sawit and Nabiatul Dania Zulfika won the award through their animated short film called Batuh Bijanji or Stone Promises in Bidayo. FECEA is the Alvorada International School Film Festival held in Brazil, which recognizes audio-visual works of art on the school level. Well, that's all news updates for today. As always, thank you for watching. I'm Razi Ahmad for TVS Nightline. Have a good night and stay safe.